Haisai, Sid Yaibing, Cha Ganju Yagaya. Welcome everyone, I'm your host Sid. I hope you're doing well and staying safe as conditions are improving in the world. First, I ask that you hit that subscribe button and become part of this group. That will help the YouTube algorithms to suggest this channel to others interested in Uchinaguchi and grow the group. But more importantly, it will ensure that every time a video is released, you will be notified. Okay, I'll give you a few seconds to hit that subscribe button. Today's topic is standards or conventions we'll use for this channel. This will help viewers to know when to expect, what to expect, and how to expect the information for this channel. Okay, let's get right to it. Number 1. Videos will be released Friday of each week or 4 times a month. If there is a 5th Friday in a month, I will use that week for additional preparation time and to regroup. Number 2. Each video will typically be around 8 to 13 minutes. I may deviate from this on occasion, but I will attempt to follow this guideline. I don't want to make the videos too short since we want to learn as much as possible, but I don't want to make it too long since it becomes challenging for people to take in information after a certain point. 8 to 13 minutes should be the sweet spot. Number 3. All information presented will be based on the Naha Shuri dialect, which is the de facto standard for the Uchinaaguchi language. Be aware that there are hundreds of dialects even within the Uchinaaguchi language, so your family or relatives may use a dialect that is slightly different from the Naha dialect. Just realize that you may have heard a word or phrase said in a different way for the dialect spoken by your family. Number 4. Each video will only cover a single topic or a couple of really closely related ideas. The human mind can only take 1 or 2 key concepts at any one time and retain this knowledge, so we won't challenge this limit too much. When covering vocabulary, the following guideline will be used. For nouns, I will pick a category and present 6 to 8 words, such as a category like body, and present 6 to 8 body-related words. For verbs, I would present 3 to 4 verbs and cover the present and past tense of the verb, along with the casual and polite form of the verb. For adjectives, I will present 6 adjectives and cover the casual and polite forms of the adjective. Anyway, you get the idea. Number 5. I will select topics based on what is necessary to have knowledge to speak and understand basic Uchinaaguchi. I will use the Japanese language proficiency test N5 as a guide for ideas, but will not totally follow it. As we progress, I'll use N4, N3, and so on. The JLPT is a common proficiency test used by many Japanese corporations to gauge the knowledge of Japanese by foreigners for employment. So we'll be covering the equivalent material but in Uchinaaguchi. Number 6. The material will be geared for people who speak English. I'll be making comparisons with Japanese quite frequently. However, knowledge of Japanese is not necessary, but it will be helpful. Right now, I plan to include both English and Japanese translations into the presentations. This may change depending on how much work this ends up being. Number 7. Material will be presented in both the casual and polite forms. Uchinaaguchi and Japanese are similar in that there are words used for casual speak with friends or younger people, and polite speak for talking to strangers and older people. This is usually reflected in the choice of verbs and sometimes nouns. Polite speech is not to be confused with honorific speech or keigo. Keigo means using words that show respect because of status difference or age difference. We'll also cover keigo usage on this channel. Number 8. The channel will use Romaji style for writing Uchinaaguchi in English. Please refer to video 4 for details. The channel will use the conventional Okinawan writing system for hiragana. Number 10. I will ask that you repeat the words or phrases that we learned during the video. We learn by seeing and hearing, but if you also say the words, it will reinforce that knowledge. Number 11. I will attempt to read most comments and respond, but this will depend on the number of comments. Please excuse me if I fail to address your question. Number 12. The channel will have a video naming convention. The format will be the words Uchinaguchi Study Group, followed by the video number, then the subject of the video, subtopic, and finally a descriptor. So these are some examples of this format. The subject will be something like grammar, vocabulary, situational, or special topic. And subtopics, for example, of situational would be like greetings, self-introduction, eating. This naming convention will help you search for particular topics. For example, if you want to review nouns, then you can do a YouTube search for Uchinaguchi Study Group vocabulary nouns. Number 13. If there are any corrections to the video, it will be made in the description section with the keywords correction, and the videos will not be remade. Corrections, however, will be sent in a newsletter that I'll talk about next. Number 14. A paid weekly newsletter will be starting in June. The newsletter will be available just prior to the upload of that week's video. The newsletter will cover that week's lesson and will include all slides in the presentation. Most info will be in table format with little verbiage. Also, as a value added, it will include additional information such as more vocabulary or additional examples or something extra that is not in the video. Also, any corrections or updates to previous videos will be automatically sent to you as an update if you received the original newsletter. This will include an explanation of what was incorrect and what the correct information is. This automatic update will be one of the benefits of being a newsletter subscriber. I will be working on setting up this service, and the details will be announced in June. Though these will be the standards and conventions we will use for this channel. In the next video, we'll be covering Uchinaguchi phrases. Until next week, mata yasai.